Hello, welcome to the Lone Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Lone. In this episode, no regulars, because reasons, as always. As for our guest, he was told he's on planet Earth, but he always has his doubts. He currently lives behind on the Jupiter on a hidden moon at a secret base in an undisclosed location. No, doesn't seem so undisclosed now, does it?
Well, occasionally I visit planet Earth when I have my weekly show on the radios and on a podcast. So then, of course, I look around and I say, okay, still not the place I want to be in. So I just go back.
Fair enough, fair enough. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Neoborn Caveman.
Cheers, everybody. Hey, hello, Purple Rabbits, guys, girls. I don't know how to call people these days, so I call them Purple Rabbits.
Ah, okay, that's a new one. I never heard that one before.
Well, tune in to the Neoborn Caveman show. You will hear it every day. Well,
Fair enough.
I'm too lazy to do that. No, it's too much. It's you produce your own show. You know it how difficult to make it happen, to have the right team or do it by yourself. And if you really want to resonate with the people, with the world around, and maybe you want to chip in some different thoughts than the hatred, than the vanity, then it's a little bit challenging to be on schedule all the time. But well, you're welcome to be there all the time.
Yes, indeed. All right, so how's life?
Well, usually this is my question for my guests, so uh, it's hard to tell. My lungs feel better. Yesterday it was terrible in the morning too, but I got some painkillers and I could have a good walk with my youngest son, and that I could enjoy this crazy idea. I know this goes against all the medical advices and all the bureaucrats and all the new world order. Walking in the sunlight, it heals me. I know it's crazy. Nature walk can help you. I know it's kind of heresy to say it in 2024 now.
Yeah,
So
couldn't.
it's
Yeah, I just absolutely understand that. Apparently,
hmm. And how are you, by the way? So I reckon that you are still in the UK, which has been taken over by the population replacement agenda. Well, according to X, if you go there, UK is lost. Is it?
well, you're not wrong with all in terms of immigration. There's tons of people coming into the nation. Yeah, you're not wrong about that. Although I'm not against immigration. We should allow people to come into if different countries, but I do think there should be some kind of moderation because if they do come in, where are they going to go? Are there enough houses? Is there enough opportunities for them? The, there's loads of questions yet to be answered for anything.
Well, if you listen to the people on X, Elon Musk's X tells everything. I mean, it's still funny to say like that, and they go mad and crazy. And I don't understand this. To be fair, how alien-hearted a government can be. It is not only in the UK, also in Australia, or I shouldn't even mention Canada. For these days, it's more like China and the US. So it's all lost. Everything seems to be in the Western countries under a certain agenda saying that, hey, if you had decent values, if you had a social agreement, how you live your life and how you participate in the tax-paying society, you will have this and this outcome. And now everything is questioned. And I am not entirely sure, agreeing with you, that the right way is to do it mindlessly, unless this is the whole agenda to do it mindlessly.
Yes, absolutely. People do what they can to ensure that they have an influence and maintain the powers that they have. And yeah, it's more about having an impact.
Yes, but to what end? We mentioned the UK. In the last, let's say, 15, 18 years, there's been so many miniseries, or how should I call them, or B category movies. I don't know what is the right term these days to mention them. All were like strong warnings that, hey, if you keep doing that, a dystopia is coming.
I'm not sure if there's a term that I would know for that, but I have seen something like that apparently very recently.
Oh, which one was that?
Oh, shoot.
Oh, so
Can't,
So while you are saying, guy, we mentioned this one, the Cumberbatch had this series like 13 years ago or 15 years ago, was the Last of the Enemy, and that depicted everything right now is a big issue, less especially in London.
Yes, apparently there's it's not just legacy media, but there's always someone trying to get a message out and repeat it over and over again, regardless of any backed proof or evidence. If it's repeated just enough times, people will be convinced that what they're saying is genuinely the case,
Wow,
regardless of proof.
that is interesting, because hear me out. If you rewind back to the first Terminator movie, we saw the future visions with these special drones, and whatever. And now the exactly same designs are already in action. So, which was before? Was it like conditioning people to accept that this would come, or some people behind the scenes said, "Oh, that's a good idea. Let's do that." So, which comes first? So, does art imitate life, or rather, life take some clues from art?
I think I see more of life imitating art because recently I've seen going from classical paintings now going to something like it's just as bland as a blue square or someone just slapping a slice of potato spuds or someone spilling dirt on someone. Like people's imitation towards art is inconclusive and doesn't have any substantial meaning.
I 125% agree with you.
Yes.
Absolutely, it's a, and this actually relates to the. Can I use this word "scheitfuckery"? From Jews Media, the Australian anti-alien alien government company. So they use this term because every day 80,000 new songs uploaded to Spotify or wherever. How none of that is valuable. They don't even reach the value of a blue square, as you mentioned. Nothing. They are just trash, like garbage bin trash, or even worse. So um, I also disagree with the notion that, oh, everybody should have, like, 20 years of education to compete. Rather, you can be like a Bach or whatever. So, but maybe this kind of entitlement, saying that, hey, I push the button, I'm an artist, give me money. Maybe this is also not the way.
I agree with you. Like, if you want to get a message out, people need to have some kind of value, something that they stand for and fight against. If you don't know what you're standing for, then what's the point people listening to you?
Oh my God, you said something. What would, I don't know, make 80% of the population crazy, mad, the hurts. I mean, thoughts, emotions, responsibility, anything other than the vanity matrix. Oh my God, that is a heretic idea.
Uh huh.
Just like this
Yes.
sarcastic notion, because sarcasm is, of course, the enemy of anything what is related to socialism or communism, what is taken over. But that's another question, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, what I was thinking about is the only way to get message out of different warnings of what people or groups are passing out is you have to play them off as a joke because if you're taking it too seriously or a bit deep about it, they're just going to stop you. But if you play it off as a joke, they'll laugh along with it. That like people think you're not serious about it. It's just there's no way people would believe this. But of course, if you lie deep into the jokes, sooner or later, sometimes later, mostly actually, people will realize until it's too late that what's happening to us now could be very, very detrimental to us mentally, mostly physically, and however restrictively and limitation in the next few years or decades.
Indeed, indeed. I have a lot of thoughts these days that how can you help people? I believe that artists, writers, Anybody who has some willingness to create something new from the bottom of their heart, vibrating with a celestial entity, some say God, then I would say that's the way. But if you remember, in the 80s, the Milgram experiments showed that 80% of the population will never be able to think for themselves, and they can't be sovereign. Art is a sovereign thing. Jokes are sovereign things. And I was talking to some humorists, like Lou Perez and others, and they also wrote, for example, a book about that, and that this joke is not funny anymore or whatever, because these days you can't even joke. I'm not talking about the bad ones, when you punch down, but you can't really be. Um, I don't know, paying attention to everything. So for a joke, basically, a joke is something what is truth and somehow wrapped in something what it makes it softer, because life is so hard that you don't want to look at. Our future is so I don't know, this full of despair. I don't really recall any idea other than Elon Musk that let's move to the Mars because Earth is over. So basically it's a blight future. And if we just point out to some extent that, hey, maybe we don't need more cadaver presidents in the state on strings, like puppets, then maybe it is a different thing than going after some of the, hey, yeah, stupid Democrats or whatever.
Yes, absolutely. I do think we should reduce the number of people that, to some extent, are controlled by higher ups in different organizations, and I think there should be more people that have true values. They stand for something and actually do do the best they can to provide for the people in the nations that they are wanting to run for. But of course, there's always going to be someone that's going to divide things up and have like middlemans operating each of these sanctions. Because if there isn't some kind of centralized control, who is to say someone should do this, someone should do that? I do agree that there are some powers in the world that are kind of messed up, if not possibly more messed up than we could imagine. There has to be some kind of power structure that that will certainly, hopefully, allow the public to speak out on various issues and provide for better futures for everyone.
Yes, yes, yes. I think you are right. What you said just reminded me. I have an ongoing debate with my good friend George, who is always saying how to act in this era, how, for example, money is more important for women because that is like the security for them and whatever. So this you have to represent. And I always say that you might be right, but I'm not interested in that game. I am not from this world. I don't want this. I don't think God ever created boundaries. I don't think God ever created the very idea that one of the sexes should hate the other one. I don't think we should have a revolving door in our private life. I try to be very nice here. And so, to some extent, I agree that we need to have some structure, but in an ideal world where I think we all should agree to go towards to, we don't need this kind of structure because sovereign people can hang out just right because they don't want to take advantage on others. If somebody has a patch of land, for example, they have a safety network and they won't need any government to support them, with I don't know, food stamps or whatsoever, or like in the UK, that kids once again can't have normal food only in the school canteen. So because the majority of them are so poor at home. So I think industrialization, forced moving to the cities, I think this is also a problem what we kind of comfortably opt out to question whether this is a good idea, because when you can take responsibility for yourself when certain things are provided to you, and being a dependent child to the government, I think it is not really the way how we should live our lives.
Yes, absolutely. We shouldn't have some kind of restricting hierarchy. We should allow majority of voices to go towards the people because they're the ones living their lives, and the majority of the members of the public are also the ones contributing to their nation's economy. So why shouldn't members of the public have a say on how their countries are run, given that they're the ones contributing to their local and national economies?
Exactly, exactly. Why can't you say that, hey, I don't want this in the supermarket? Why don't we have better rules? Why can't I have access to the local farmers? Why the government is allowing some companies to let the sludge to the fertile lands to go there? Or why, how come that the prime ministers are occasionally war criminals in England? They are just, unelected people. How come it happens, and why don't have a say in that one? Yeah, you're right.
Yes, indeed.
See, two people just met in space and we agree in everything. So now let's have more than, like, let's say a couple of 100 million people and we will save the world.
Yes, fantastic.
That's the way.
Yes.
Find always the things what you can, what is common. I think this is the thing because our differences make us unique. That's I'm sure, and we have more in common than things different. And we mentioned in the beginning like the migration. Yes, people are beautiful, but I love living as a digital nomad. I love working around the world, and I before I go somewhere, I always study the culture as much as I can. I try to learn the language, the customs. I'm not saying that I'm giving up myself. I'm saying I'm respecting the culture, the country where for longer or shorter while I am.
Yes, exactly. You don't have to sacrifice who you are as a person and you were born with, but so long as if you are going to another nation, it is good for people to be aware of the customs and the culture they have and respect people for the way they live because we all different viewpoints and perspectives on how we view the world, and even whether or not we agree or disagree with stuff, the least we can do is respect people the way we want to be respected.
Exactly. Although cultural clashes, which seem to be repeated these days, like 100 years ago, 500 years ago, 800 years ago, we had this. But we can say this. I think the greatest issue these days how the so-called Christian Europe is invaded by the so-called Muslims. It is a lot of exaggeration here. It's not exactly, but it seems to be the same case that once again, like every 200-300 years, there's a kind of invasion coming, and we have to push back them from Spain, from Eastern Middle Europe, from the South Balkan. The Ottoman Empire fought against everybody, and some countries could resist and for a while. And then when Europe united, they could push them out from Europe after 150 years. So it looks like it is generated again, but I think we are smarter now than that because everybody has access to internet. Everybody has can FaceTime, let's say, each other, and we can see, look, our kids are the same. They can play in the same sandbox. They understand each other. So maybe it's only us adults who should just really just step back like a couple of steps and saying, okay, so let's view, do I think right? So do I have prejudice here? Can I maybe learn something from the other person too? And maybe both of us are capable to see through the veil of this manipulation of hatred and enmity we are thrown into, like in a deep pit. And if we are there and we are fighting against each other, then we just let the real culprits who steal our wealth and our chances away.
Yes, exactly. And of course, despite the differences and we need to try our hard to be true with ourselves and promote our own domestic culture. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. It's important to learn about other cultures, but of course, it is more important now to know more about our own before considering learning about others. So everyone knows what we stand for and what our values is and what our viewpoint is with the world.
Exactly. So yeah. All right. So let me ask you this. I know that you are the host of the show, but I'm curious. So which is your favorite band these days you are listening to? Don't tell me.
F- Favorite band?
Yeah, you can't say okay. You can't say K-pop or Coldplay. Okay.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Although
Okay, Coldplay is good. Okay.
even no, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. I don't have anything against Coldplay, but I do have like a wide range of music tastes. That I like listening to classical music,
Oh my
maybe a bit of
God! Really?
yeah.
You are the second person on earth
Really?
whom I found. Yes.
Okay, that's interesting.
No, it's a kind of joke, but yeah, I mean, if you listen to the classical music, you heal your body. Awesome.
Yes, exactly. In fact, classical music in general is like the healing potion to many things. It even helps plant grow faster, apparently.
Yes, yes, research proved that.
Yes, absolutely.
I also did these experiments actually with my plants in one of the apartments I rented, and they really started to. So we had it like the whole summer, and whenever we went out with the kids, I just let it, the playlist, and literally it was like blushing and grooming. So like you could see that it was more exponential growth than before.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's like that. Okay, so classical music. Okay, cool. And I think we agree that, for example, some rock music can also be very classical.
Yeah, that's true. I do like a couple of rock songs, but not too heavy metal rock. It's just kind of pop rock, indie rock, just mainly rock in general. That is
So, for example, Snow Patrol is still in the picture for you.
yeah, that's one of them. Yes.
See, I just thought you are in Britain, so Snow Patrol must be yours. So it's like that. It's like, yeah. Um,
Yeah.
Actually, it's interesting how music also changed with the ages, and all the bands, the dinosaur bands, also tried to adapt, and I think that was the bad way. The Rolling Stones could stay a Rolling Stone. They didn't really change their sound. Oh yes, they improved whatever, and they sound like big now, but they still that. But a lot of bands are just starting out and they doing that, and they always reinventing themselves. So it's like Sting. So by now we have Sting, who is like, yeah, really. It's okay that you wrote a musical or whatever, but just can't listen to that one.
Yeah, that's everyone has their own taste and opinions on music as a whole. With different genres, different artists, and again, even though we there's people that agree or disagree, we must respect that, and hopefully we tend to our lives in our own ways.
Do you think an artist should listen to its audience when she, whatever now these days, create art? So, or should an artist, writer, whatever, performer, just go straight to where she, whatever, feels inside? That's the way to go to.
I think from the start, I think it's important for music artists to write music that they like to listen, and then eventually they will develop a fan base from that. The reason why a lot of people listen to music because there's music that relates to them. If music artists write the same way that their fans would love to listen to music, that helps with growing an organic and genuine fan base that likes listening to their music that they enjoy writing.
Mm. I'm just thinking because if you are true to your core and you don't lie to yourself, it is not necessarily what is expected from you. I also went through this one. One of my early songs were very successful, and and really, and I just felt I don't want to go that direction. Why? Because that was not true anymore in me. So I did what I shouldn't have done, of course. So and changed some genres here, there, everywhere, and there was a drop in listenership because people didn't expect this. But hear me out. When you have a piece of Bach, when you have a piece of Picasso or Monet or whatever, then it takes a century or at least a few decades to really be appreciated, because if we go after the wind, we will be blown by the wind. But we need to have firm roots in something, because people need, like, okay, this is just some whatever metaphor, that we need trees to lay under its fruit and shade during the storm.
Yes, absolutely. It's always good to have some firm foundation to create your music and to expand your fan base. And of course, if there is ever a point that music artists do want to take a different direction, maybe it's best to find a balance towards what their fan base likes listening to and then a different change in the artist's perspectives. It's it may be a challenge, but if it's done correctly and it's balanced executively perfect, well, I don't know how to say it. If there's a perfect balance between what is true to the artist and what their fan base enjoys listening to, I think maybe a change in music composition and genre can be the way to go.
Yeah, you said something very true. Balance. This is harmony, vibration, resonance. This is what I think is missing from these days a lot, and not only missing, but most of people don't even know that they could apply this to their lives. Just like I don't believe that city parks are really the places to go if you want to gain back your inner balance. I think you should really hike, go out with your car, and go to the nature. Or in England, you have moors, right? Some open moors, and just go there, lay down, and just meditate, or just watch the clouds, at least as basic minimum, and let yourself be soaked by the rain if you tend to be in the, I don't know, in the Midlands.
Yeah, that's true.
So, okay, so okay, yeah, okay. Let me plug some things here. Can I?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay, so despite what we were talking about balance and so on, one of my new book is coming out about the NPDs. MPD sounds like a three-digit American alphabet agency. Maybe it is, because this is narcissistic personality disorder, and it has a lot of things. It is not the right narcissism what we all have. We want to go, okay, let's go to the AGT or BGT, and then let's perform. That's the right, the healthy one. The unhealthy one is very demonic, and it ruined, I think, tens of millions life. And after like more than 18 months of research and a few months sleep after that, because it was so dark, so finally it is going to come out late June, early July, and this is it. It is not about balancing everything out. I can't. I'm not there yet, but I can help people to see that, look, this is happening, and if you pay attention what is happening to you, maybe you can prevent yourself to be deassembled by these entities, because I can't call them humans who are manipulating yourself with their gaslighting, with their tactics. It's so bad and so detailed that it looks like a whole spiritual thing is coming to Earth now, just to dismantle the human soul. So this is about that. So that's the plug.
That is so true.
So it's like that. Yeah, of course, anybody can listen to the Neoborn Caveman show. If you want to come over, you are invited right now in front of anybody who is listening to this one to come and be a guest for an interview at the Neoborn Caveman show.
Nice, sounds great. And that is the episode. It was great having you on, Neoborn Caveman, talking about a lot of things in regards to how society is operating, what should we do to tackle them, and so much more. It's been brilliant.
All right.
So with that being said, until next time, stay tuned for more.